listeners who was denied a bank loan.
What a way to open it up. We are live. This is a live recording.
Wow.
Gentlemen, welcome back. Another week Pros with Con podcast, all right?
Yes, sir.
So basically, you're going to have some pros on, talk about some cool things in the fitness world. Some of my good friends are with me today, so what we're going to have is a nice limited edition, I think.
Ooh.
You could hit it. Basically just having some people on, good quality conversation, fitness, health, lifestyle, all that kind of stuff, shooting the breeze, that kind of thing. We're just going to be talking. Yeah. So it's going to be good. So this is what I kind of envisioned when I had the thought of doing a podcast, is having some people like this on. So some of my real good friends, they will be highlighted pretty frequently on today's episode. But with me today, I have the owner of Fry Performance Training, Chris Fry.
Hello, thank you.
That's Chris Fry. Longtime friend, Corey Beaumont.
Oh,
Whoa.
Oh, wow.
clap it up.
Clap it up. So yeah, these are two of the main guests I envisioned when I had the thought of creating this podcast for sure. Some of my real good friends. I've known Chris my entire life, literally.
Preschool.
I
I don't remember the teacher's name, but
I don't remember her name either.
Holy cow.
I've known Corey not as long, but it feels like it.
Feels like forever. Wow.
Time.
I feel like I've known you my whole life.
Time doesn't mean anything when it comes to friendship.
wow.
A lot of people say time's made up.
was good.
What is time?
So, speaking of time, in 1916, the Titanic... No, okay.
What a way. We're switching gears for this episode. We're going to talk about lost ancient civilizations.
Yep.
Advancing technology.
Yeah, it's crazy what they were doing.
How did they make Stonehenge?
Was it them or was it the aliens?
Or is it us? We don't know.
Could have been.
All right.
Yeah, just
Makes
blowing
it-
my mind.
In all seriousness, these are some of the best people I know for sure. So I'm super excited that these people are on this episode. I think you guys are going to really enjoy it. We'll probably go a little longer on this episode, probably right around an hour, just because we want to make sure these two gentlemen are highlighted
You have a
for
lot
sure.
to say. A lot
True.
to say.
Chris interrupting me already.
Yeah, dude, we talked about this on the way over here. I said, Chris, one thing you better not do is interrupt me.
But I want them each to have their times where they talk about their journeys to this point for sure. So making sure we make enough time for both of them to get everything out that they want, while also definitely making sure that they are highlighted as pros with Con.
Wow.
Come on now.
Some of the most pros, I guess you could say, I definitely know. So
The pros.
yeah, the pros of the pros, the elite
Nice.
of the pros.
Dang.
So this is going to be a cool episode. Disclaimer, this is going to involve CrossFit, but not geared towards CrossFit. These two gentlemen have done CrossFit, but don't do it on a regular basis. They're more strength and conditioning, classic bodybuilding type stuff. So it's going to be a cool episode to kind of see how this is not always about CrossFit, even though that's tailored to it for sure. But we like to work out with each other every so often, just doing like a workout, doesn't matter what it is. And we'll get into that further in the episode, but this is going to be a cool episode for you guys to see these two gentlemen and where they come from and kind of like how they go about their business and all that good stuff. So it's going to be cool to dive into that. So, yeah.
I thought you were going to say disclaimer. There's going to be some wild things said on this.
Disclaimer, there's going to be some
Are we
wild
going to get
things.
canceled in our first appearance?
I really hope we don't get canceled.
I hope we don't get canceled, but Chris says
Chris.
some wild. So he's already interrupted.
He is off his rocker.
Yeah.
Cheese done slid off his cracker back in the
As
day.
they say.
Definitely. So this will be a cool episode. So two of my
Fire it up.
closest friends for sure. So it's going to be good for you guys to see why I consider them some of my closest friends. I mean, they are idiots, but
Facts.
Yeah.
no, they're some of the smartest individuals I know just in the fitness world. We talk about fitness quite a bit. We talk about sports quite a bit. I mean, just everything we kind of touched about already on this podcast is going to be dove in today, into today with these two gentlemen. So, glad you guys came on. This is
Thanks
good
for
fired up.
time.
having.
It
Yeah,
was
thanks
nice.
for having me. I'm
Corey
excited.
most recently moved to Cleveland.
Ugh.
So his
Sorry.
yeah,
Sorry, guys.
boo. His commute back to Pittsburgh is a little bit easier because he was in Tennessee getting his doctorate. So I've mentioned that on the podcast before.
right.
This is the fella right here.
The one and only.
Yeah, in the flesh. Chris just recently moved back to the county.
It's the place
So
to be.
it's
The
big-
prodigal son returns.
the
America's County.
yeah, America's County. Kurt will agree with that. Riley Flynn, you guys.
Shout out them.
Yeah, shout out them. Yeah. Yeah. So, just let's talk a little bit about you fellas now.
Yeah,
what do you say?
let's do it,
So, we'll start with Chris just
Yeah.
because Chris,
little bro.
yeah, that is a
I
little
don't get
bro.
it,
We gotta work
yeah.
our way up to big bro.
Yeah.
So, Chris Fry,
Yes.
who are you?
Oh, man, it sounds like I want to interview.
Greatest strengths and weaknesses. Go.
No, I'm from Western Beaver.
Sheesh.
Yeah, it's tough. But
Real tough.
like Nick said, I've known him since preschool.
We go way back. Way back.
Played basketball together growing up. Summer league, Fort Mac basketball all the time.
BTB.
Bright
baby.
Township Bear football. You know, it's a couple championships there, no big deal.
Yeah, literally.
I thought I recognized you two. I was like, where have I seen these guys before?
Yeah, Termites and Mighty Mike.
Yeah, we were in the
Champions,
papers. No big
Yeah.
deal.
So I thought. I was down at the library going through the little slider things. We're
Fair,
looking
fair,
at old
fair,
newspapers. I was
fair.
like,
Yeah.
is that Nick and Chris?
Fair.
Yeah, but went to Western Beaver. I really got into fitness and lifting and working out through sport. I played sports from the time I was little till forever through high school, and it just kind of kept going in through college where I liked lifting, and it became a hobby, and then it became I like this and I want to know as much as I possibly can about it. And it just kind of kept progressing through there, through internships out of college, going to grad school, and working in gyms, and now eventually opening my own business that I run now after my full-time teaching job. So.
What do you do for that teaching job, dude? Tell the people.
Yeah.
Well, I'm a
I mean,
PE teacher as well.
Yeah.
Oh, he does it all.
Oh,
Holy
he
yeah.
cow.
teaches the
I'm a
youth
middle
of
school
America.
PE teacher, so I teach 7th and 8th grade. Cannon McMillan. This is my 4th year there.
Oh, really? Wow.
Dang,
Yeah.
You're almost tenured.
Almost, hopefully after
Isn't
this
it,
year.
is it 6? Oh, 5.
No, it's after. I think
After
it's
4?
3 years, but my first year was
You
a long.
redshirted?
Yeah, my first year was a
Yeah.
long-term sub.
It was
So
a medical red shirt, I think.
I didn't get observed during that year, so
That's probably
Didn't
for the
it
count.
best.
doesn't. Yeah,
Yeah.
it doesn't go towards my tenure.
Just give this guy a year. I'm gonna see legs before
Yeah.
we go in there.
That's a good.
See what's
That was a
going
good
on.
overview for sure.
Yeah, we
of-
can go more into detail of that stuff, but
we're gonna. We're
Okay,
gonna.
good, yeah.
It's a good overview for sure. Just kind of similar to my background as opposed to or gearing towards like growing up playing sports and stuff, all that kind of stuff. Pretty much active in fitness and working out ever since you can remember. Where did you attend undergrad and then graduate school and all that good stuff?
undergrad, I went to Edinburgh University up in
Sure.
Erie. That's where I met Corey. We were in the same major.
Yeah.
So we became good friends. We went on a conference.
Seven
actually,
Springs,
right?
was it?
Was it Seven Springs one?
Seven Springs.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we
the
went to
little
Seven
ski
Springs
resort.
on a. Was that PSA for?
Yeah.
Yeah, why were you there?
Dude,
was
I did
PE
everything.
stuff.
We'll get into
Okay.
we'll get into
Don't
me,
worry
dude.
about him.
All right, I
You-
won't.
yeah.
Because it's gonna
Yeah,
blow
we-
your mind while I was there, dude.
I knew me and Corey knew each other just from class, but
Yeah.
we went on that trip, and it was like a weekend.
What did
And,
you study at Edinburgh?
Health and phys ed.
Health
teaching.
and phys ed
Yeah, I got my
teaching.
teaching degree, teaching start there.
Okay.
I minored in athletic coaching.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah,
I
so
don't think I actually knew that.
No, yeah, I did that as well.
Oh, it's like I don't know you at all.
I know.
You think you know a guy?
And I interned with the women's lacrosse team for their strength and conditioning. I helped them out a little bit, like 2 days a week.
Was that when Landry was there? Was that his
Yeah.
name? Okay, that's what
Yeah,
I thought.
I was with him.
Good guy.
Yeah.
Wish I knew.
And then I did my first internship in this fitness space during that time as well. 2015 was when I kind of got into it. Like when I realized that's what I wanted to do. So,
It's cool. Yeah.
yeah.
And then what did you study or focus? I guess is what I want to say. At Pitt is where you went to get master's.
Oh
Right?
yeah. I got my master's
University
degree
of Pitt.
at Pitt. Huge Pitt fan, as most of you probably know. But I went there for, it's called Health and Physical Activity, but it's like their extension of their exercise science
Is
program.
that what you did?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like the students at Pitt that go to undergrad for exercise science, if they continue in that same program, it's health and physical activity.
Yeah.
Is
I
that
think I would say it's general. It's pretty general.
Yeah,
What
yeah.
do
It's
you
not
think?
like
that's what Billy did then?
Yeah,
He just
Billy
did
did that
exercise science and then just went straight
That's
into that.
that's
Okay.
exactly what Billy did.
Okay.
And now they have different options there now. I think you can go.
They
to, like,
restructured some
yeah,
things. Yeah.
you can go to sports science. You can do a lot of different things there. Before it was just like exercise science, and you go
Yeah.
for health and physical activity.
Yeah, and
And
this
that-
is sorry. Go ahead.
That looks at like, it's a lot of general pop stuff. That's where their big studies
Gen Pop, as
Gen
we
Pop,
say in the
yeah.
biz. Yes.
was. That's what
Tough
their
out
big
there.
studies were all through there while
Mhm.
we were there. They were probably one of the biggest. Would you say?
Oh, yeah.
like
For studying, like
Obesity and physical
obesity
activity.
and physical
like
activity.
University of Pitt, like this program.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The former department chair
Mhm.
won't say his name. It's fine.
Low key.
But
low key.
he was like the big dog
Yeah.
in that stuff.
He would
Yeah.
get tons of money, like for studies and stuff, and they'd always have huge studies going on.
Interesting.
So yeah, that's what I did schooling wise. That's
Schooling wise.
pretty much it. I did a lot of good things while I was at Pitt too, in terms of internships and teaching.
You did
as
like
well.
a lot of. Okay, so at Pitt in that master's program, there's
Mm-hmm.
two separate like tracks, right? There's
Yeah.
like the research and then the clinical.
Yep,
And I think you went clinical,
I went
right?
clinical.
And I was
research. Most
Research.
people were research.
Oh, this
So-
is
yeah.
this is fun.
Yeah.
This is fun.
And so I actually, this is a legit question, but I thought you did a bunch of stuff at Pitt that was not required. Like you went like all those internships and stuff.
Yeah, that was-
Didn't you just like knock on doors and you're like, hey, can I help?
Yeah, I did that
That's
for
what I
basketball.
Okay.
Kamali, shout out Kamali. He knew the
Bro
Pitt
grad.
basketball strength coach. He worked for the football team. He got to know the basketball guy a little bit. So he sent an email to him for me. I went in and I did that from September to their season was over, like in late February, March. So I was there like 2 days a week with
Mhm.
Pitt men's basketball, strength and conditioning, doing their stuff in season, and then preseason and into in season. So that was cool.
Just a go getter. You
Yeah.
didn't have to do that. You wanted to do that.
I wanted to do it. Yeah, it's good.
Thanks.
Wow, you guys are firing me
Shout
up
out
right
Chris,
now.
dude.
Firing
Yeah.
me up right now.
That type of work ethic.
So
just-
humble, so
Yeah.
modest, so like
He wanted to
nose to the
skate past it. I
grindstone,
said,
maybe.
no, dude.
no. Circle back.
Yeah. Let me
High
stop you right
like
there,
that.
sir. We're on the record now.
Yeah, we're on the record.
This is on the record, right? Everything we're
This
saying
is,
is
we're
on the
live.
record?
This is not recorded. This is live. But this is super cool because I feel like I say that a lot, but I don't care.
It's fine.
There's
It
cool
is.
stuff
It's
everywhere you
super
look,
cool.
dude.
I
You just
want.
gotta know where
this
to
is
look.
the whole point. I want you guys to be freaking people get to know you guys while you guys are the pros of the pros.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like this is interesting because someone like myself who didn't focus on that kind of stuff, like I do business is like my main time job, and this is like more of like a side thing that trying to transition into more of like a lifetime role of fitness and health. I mean, we
Sure.
can all agree that it's like a center of our
course.
conversations and all that stuff. But it's interesting to see that someone who like pursued that path, like formal education, that kind of thing. So like that's why it's cool that like you have those friends that kind of connect, not necessarily just through like CrossFit or working out, but like educating themselves
Yeah.
with a form of higher education in that regard. So like Pitt, like your master's program, and then we'll get into Corey, who even took it a step further, who went to just really some
Really?
go-getters here
Like
at
a
this table today.
dumbbell.
But it's just cool for people to hear that, like, I mean, obviously you guys know I believe in CrossFit, but I also just believe in health and fitness in general.
Exactly.
So like strength and conditioning, exercise science, exercise physiology, all this stuff is stuff we talk about pretty much regularly, I would say. But it's cool to hear someone like Chris who like did it formally through like Edinburgh Health and Phys to like be a gym teacher, like PE teacher, where like you're learning that stuff to be like you want to be involved with kids and stuff in the school, which is cool. And then also doing that for high performance, like all this other stuff you want to do. So like you're kind of making it all big one thing where you're just like involved in everything that you
Yeah.
actually wanted to pursue. So like that's cool for people to see that like you can do that as a form of formal education.
Certainly.
And and I think that's important for kids. Like if I knew all that stuff, like when I was a kid, I would definitely want to do that growing up. But like I was just never taught that,
no,
you know,
yeah.
you know, and that's just like a thing that I want to try and use this for, and like the other stuff I kind of involved in, like talking to kids, saying like this
Yeah.
could be a career, like if you actually like sports and that kind of thing, like why don't you try and pursue something in that field where you get to do that on a daily basis. So like it's important for you guys to like, especially you who actually deals with kids on a daily basis. You're more of the upper echelon
Sure.
years of
Education.
youth in their education, but having like a PE class with like middle schoolers, like that's when you start really like understanding things, I would say.
Yeah, for sure.
So like instilling that from an early age, just touching back on our previous episode with Kurt and Josh, like his kid's like super young, he's like 9, but like middle school, that's at like 12, 13?
Yeah,
Something
13,
like
14. 12, 13, 14.
Figure it out, Chris.
One age.
Yeah.
Some of them are younger, some of them
Yeah.
get
Fair,
12 and
fair,
they
fair,
turn
fair,
13 when they're 10.
I graduated when I was 14 from high school, so I know that there's quite a range.
But it's cool that like you could instill that at an early age. So like that's kind of the whole basis of this, is to try and get people educated on stuff, options that they have at an early age. And,
Yeah, and I would, sorry to interrupt you, but
yeah, go ahead.
I would say too, like I didn't realize like you could be a strength and conditioning coach.
Yeah.
Like I wanted to go to school, like I wanted to be a teacher since I was 12. Like I knew that that's what I wanted to do. But it was always, okay,
Good-
I'm going to be like,
Good on you, Chris.
I'm going to be like a history teacher and I want to coach basketball and I want to coach basketball, football and track, whatever. I took a sport nutrition class my first semester as I got that minor in athletic coaching. Sports nutrition was the first class I took with that for my freshman year. As soon as I took it, I was like, I'm switching my major to health and phys ed. Like,
That's Dr. Stoffer, right?
yeah, Dr. Stoffer, and she was
Good
out
lady.
actually.
Shout
She's
out
a great
A lot
lady.
of borough connections
was,
going to be had.
She was actually out. She was having a baby.
Yeah.
So I had Dr. Crow, who's awesome also. And that really made me, and it was like a tough decision because everybody was like, oh, like you're never going to get a job in PE. Like you'll have to move, or it's hard to get a job, whatever. But there's so many other things you can get into, like in exercise, that are not just PE, that I can do now, that because I have that degree. Like I've always been able to work in a gym. I've always been able to, like, there's other things you can do and that you learn from that PE degree that are not just strictly PE.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a good thing that I'm very happy that I went back I changed and I did that. Great decision.
Great decision. And it's cool that, like, how do I want to word this? Like, you went formal with the education, but like you don't have to, like, you can make connections where you can get into these spaces without like certifications, education, all that kind of stuff. But it just shows, like, there's people that get the certification and they can automatically coach a course or do, like, be it whatever. But like that doesn't mean that they're going that extra mile to have that education, higher form of training to like actually show that you're passionate about it. And I think that's like the separator. So like someone like yourself, like you're actually doing this stuff and pursuing more education, more stuff where you're able to do these things. It's not like you're just getting a cert and be like, yo, yeah, I could do this because I took this course with one weekend or whatever.
Right.
You see that a lot in the CrossFit space. Like, it's the CrossFit Level 1 course is just like a weekend course. You pass a test, you can coach classes. Like, that doesn't make you a good coach.
No.
Yeah.
But if you're passionate about it, you can get there, and like we have that here for sure. But it's the same thing with like yourself. You really, like, this is what you wanted to do, like, with your life, and you're passionate about it. So like that's cool for people to see that in yourself, but also just in general. And so I just wanted to make sure that was highlighted.
Thank you.
Nice
You're
job.
welcome.
Thanks.
Chris, you can go now.
Yeah.
Thanks.
That's the end of your segment, dude. So the Titanic, what a lot of people don't know,
1916.
if they would have just had a head-on collision instead of slowing down and turning, anyway, they probably wouldn't have sunk if they'd have just hit it head-on.
You know what? Rose should have moved over.
They
That's
don't-
all I'm saying.
Yeah. So I digress.
I digress.
It's just that the Californian was 800 miles away. Anyway,
You thought that they were no.
I love the Titanic.
Oh, what an idiot!
yeah. Sorry.
It's all good. That's fine. But anyway, yeah. So like these two dudes. So like I met Corey through Chris, obviously. So me and Chris were living together. Shout out Southside Pittsburgh. You know,
Monastery.
Monastery, you know the deal.
we used to roam those streets pretty frequently.
Couple
I
times.
would say.
Once or twice.
Back in the day.
Yeah.
So I've known Chris for a while, obviously. So like all this stuff isn't really too new to me. So like I just know like his background and all that. But he introduced me to Corey. Corey was like staying with us for a little bit.
Sleep on our couch.
Yeah, dude, I was homeless. You could say it.
He was
All
in
right,
between jobs
Yeah.
and stuff. No, just like it happened that we worked out where you were able to just live with us for a little bit, which was cool. That's how I met you.
Yeah.
And now look at us.
Look at us now.
Hey, look
hey.
at us, huh?
Who'd have thought?
But no, in all seriousness, so like, I mean, if that never happened, I wouldn't have met Corey. So like now Corey is one of my close friends. So this is like a trio right here, I would
Dang.
say. Yeah.
Hands team.
No big deal. And no big deal.
Can't believe I just said that. Sorry.
But,
sorry,
so,
Ian
like-
and Billy, you're part of the hands team too. It's just that,
Yeah.
you know,
I mean, well, yeah.
Anyway.
It is what it is. Not that they'll probably even listen to this.
Billy's in a cotton field right now.
He'll send a pic. Don't
Yeah.
worry. Anyway, so
Yeah.
so obviously I've known Chris for ever, and then I met Corey. So Corey is probably one of the most intelligent humans in the form of.
Dude, and you'd never guess.
No.
Sorry.
Yeah, well, that's their fault. Don't judge a book by its cover, you know. You
Is
learn
that
the
did you
Mullen
just make
Stave.
that up, dude?
The Mullen Stave code. You'll
Holy
never know.
cow. Don't judge a book by its cover.
Yeah,
That's
write that
good.
down.
Yeah, holy
Write that one
moly.
down. So Corey kind of had the similar path of undergrad and postgrad in Edinburgh and Pitt. And then he went on to get his further. Even he just graduated this recently, so
July.
his doctorate. So he's a Dr. Corey,
Learned.
PhD.
That's what we call him, Doc.
Yeah, we call
It's true.
a doc.
I'm like, that's me.
Hey.
What's up? Sorry.
Someone say they need a doctor. Yeah. So Corey went on to get his doctorate at the University of Tennessee down in Knoxville.
Vols.
Go Vols.
Just beat Florida
huge
yesterday.
win last night. Huge win. Go Vols for sure. But similar kind of bringing up, and then he kind of went even further to try and get that next level of education, and then now he's like a professor. So he professes. I don't even know the
I
proper.
profess a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
If you had to
I
profess
profess my
one thing
love.
right now,
My love.
for what?
The Steelers.
Oh.
And the Titanic.
Yeah. So yeah, he just recently graduated and then he moved to Cleveland, so a little bit easier to get back to Pittsburgh, which is
Yeah,
cool. So now
fired
it's easier for him to get on the pod
Yep.
more regularly, hopefully. Chris, I just needed one time from him.
Just a segue.
Anyway, so Corey, tell us
Yeah.
a little bit about yourself. Let the people see why Dr. Corey Beaumont
Big
is
debut. Yeah.
a big deal.
Who I am, who I
Yeah,
am.
Yeah.
Yeah, so as you kind of mentioned, everything Chris did, I did before him.
And
I-
better.
I paved the way.
And better.
He's been riding my coattails for I don't even know how long.
He's just been drafting.
Yeah, he's behind me like
Cycling plug.
he's.
You
Shout
have
out,
a-
baby girl, my sweet baby angel.
Anyway.
God, I miss her. So, all right. I don't know how detailed to get.
Just tell us a little bit about your specific.
Yeah.
So it might be a little bit different than his.
Yeah,
Because you were
it's
different. You were
it's
different
way
path
different,
than-
yeah.
Yeah.
Even at
Edinburgh,
yours
Pitt,
was
Yeah.
different.
Tennessee, kind of like
Yeah. So
highlight those areas.
my undergrad, the common thread here is definitely going to be exercise science, fitness, and all that stuff.
Sure.
But my undergrad journey, I guess, it took a long time. I didn't know what I wanted to do for the longest time. So I was in and out of school. I was part-time. I was full-time. And then one time, a roommate of mine, I was out of school at this point. I had never declared a major, didn't know what I was doing. I was just like,
Edinburgh days.
hanging out. Edinburgh days.
Okay.
My roommate had this book that, looking back on it, I'm pretty sure was like pseudoscience, kind of bro science, like,
Sure.
but it got the job done. I think it was called Engineering the Alpha, which obviously it
Makes
worked.
sense.
It worked. I've been engineered into an alpha. Chris hasn't read it.
You can
One of us has been exposed to engineering the alpha.
put those pieces together yourself.
And but it was like basic nutrition stuff, basic lifting stuff, but like in a almost like a story form.
Sure.
Like I don't know how else to explain it, but I was like, oh shit. Can I swear?
Dang.
I'm sorry. Dang.
Darn.
I was like, oh shucks, this is this. It was like fun and interesting,
Yeah.
and I was like, nice. So then, actually, I was working at the Giant Eagle down Edinburgh, which I'm sorry to spring this on you, Nick, but they're closing.
What?
Yeah, dude.
That's literally where I go.
I know.
I'm gonna drive up the borough today.
Stock up.
Dang.
Like, I'm gonna keep this store open. No.
Someone's gotta do it.
So I was working there in the produce section, fruits and veggies.
Yeah.
Fitness.
Well,
I won't get
comes
into
full
micros right now. Micronutrients and
super important.
vitamins
for
and minerals.
daily
It's
life, daily function.
for another time. But they did like a wellness program, just like a weight loss, like
Giant
teams.
Eagle?
Yeah, the employee. Yeah, the employees. So I was reading that book as I like started this competition, and
And you won, so yeah. Anyway,
I
keep it
think
pushing.
I think my team won.
Yeah, keep it pushing.
It's not a huge deal. We don't need to,
You know what?
but we won.
I thought I saw that in the paper down in the library.
Down at the library, you're sliding through. Local
Yeah.
dumbass wins this dumb thing. No,
When's
okay,
this
so
dumb thing a dumb giant eagle?
wins nothing. But I was like, all right, this is awesome. I was working out to lose weight for that competition, and there's like a Snap Fitness. Do you guys remember
Yeah,
this?
I went
Little
to that.
24-hour beep
Sounds
in.
familiar.
I went
Like,
to that one in Edinburgh.
in
Beside
Edinburgh,
Giant
yeah.
Eagle.
Right
Is
beside
there one
Giant
in Erie?
Yes, a couple of them.
Okay.
There's one near Barron, and I think
Yeah.
there was one like on the other. Anyway, so I was like, this is fun to get into. It's fun to read. It's like one of the few things that like kept my attention. So I went back to school and declared that as my major. And up until that
What
point,
exactly?
exercise science.
Okay.
Like I in the same department as Chris.
Yeah.
Yours was teacher cert or something like that.
Yeah,
like
health and
it's called?
phys ed teacher cert, and yours was what? Human performance.
Human performance.
Yeah.
So just the exercise science route. I did not know what I wanted to do. I just was like
Yeah.
ingrained in the societal, like, you need a college degree, and I was like, okay, I like
Mm-hmm.
studying this. That'll be my degree. I'll figure it out later.
You do not need a college degree.
You don't know.
No.
Yeah,
Maybe
that
something
was
like specialized. If you want to be a professor, you probably need to get some
yeah,
degrees.
yeah. But yeah, I'm not endorsing. I think higher education is stupid. No.
It's a scam.
But actually, when I went back, I wanted to be like a drug and alcohol counselor in like the health promotion with like Dr. Mel and all that. Because at the time, much like right now, I wasn't drinking or doing drugs back then.
Okay.
And I was like, I'm going to help other people not do this.
Yeah.
And then I got kind of scared by the career outlook where they're like, you're not going to have really a job doing that. And then Dr. Stauffer, who got a shout out earlier, was helping me with
I
something.
don't know any of these people, just so you guys,
That's
everyone
all right.
You
knows.
should.
Yeah.
They're great. Dr.
Doc-
Stauffer, great.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great
Well,
lady.
Yeah.
I'll never meet her in my life. Go ahead.
And she kind of asked about like career plans. So I switched from health promotion to human performance because it was more physiology based, more exercise science, more like hands-on
Okay.
stuff. And Dr. Stauffer was like, have you thought about being a professor? And I was like, no. I like the thought of speaking in front of people or like having that type of attention, like literally terrified, like
Which is
hilarious.
hilarious because I feel like you own the
Yeah.
I
I try to own the room
Yeah.
when I walk in.
Yeah.
But it
if
takes
you
a
know
lot out of me.
Corey, and some of you may know have the pleasure of meeting Corey.
Bit obnoxious.
He just really knows how to work a crowd. You know what I mean?
Thanks, dude. But like when I would have classes before I declared the major, like when I was telling you about when I was struggling in school, I would leave class if they said they were going to do group work. Like,
Oh, really?
yeah, I would just pack my stuff up and leave because I like couldn't talk to people. It was embarrassing. Anyways, so I was like, no, I've never thought about being a professor. I don't like doing that stuff. She's like, I felt the same way, but like, you know this stuff, and once you like are comfortable with the material, it's not that bad talking about it. I was like, all right, well, what do I have to do to be a professor? Because at the time, the department had professors with PhDs, professors with masters. So I was like, just what do I do? And she's like, you probably need a PhD. And I was like, oh man, I was already like old for an undergrad student. And
So, like, you knew you wanted to go to get your PhD in undergrad. Like, you
Yeah.
knew that's the route you wanted
yeah,
to go.
yeah, it was put
pretty
forth
interesting.
as kind of like, I wanted to be a professor, number one. And then I was like, okay, so what do I need? How do I do it? And the PhD, The only difference between a faculty member with a PhD and one that doesn't have a PhD is like tenure ability, which might not even be true everywhere. You might not need a PhD to have a tenure track position at some schools, but I wanted the job security of a tenure track position, so I was like, all right, PhD it is. So that was in like 2014 or 15, the year before I graduated, which was 16. So I was like, okay, need to get a master's, need to get a PhD. So she helped me get down to Pitt, like, for the master's. And then I'll keep this part of the story short because I'm already long-winded. But then I went to Tennessee. Yeah, then from Pitt, I went to Tennessee with a year in between. That's where I met Nick. Shout out Nick and Orange Theory Robinson.
Is that where you were working?
That's where I was working. Yeah.
Interesting.
That and never mind.
I'll keep it pushing.
I worked somewhere for free.
I
for
digress.
A week,
The
and then I was
Titanic,
like, no.
if it hit head on, and
It's just crazy because when they turned, it scraped way
like they
more of the
almost
side.
made themselves sink.
It's their fault.
Anyway,
And yeah. So then I applied to. I just like the Titanic, dude. There's a lot of cool history. Do you know that of the 4 smokestacks,
I love cool
one of them
history.
was fake
like
on the Titanic? It was for show. It wasn't a functional smokestack. There's 4 of them.
aesthetics, maybe.
Yeah, it balanced it out. They only needed 3. 4th one was just for show.
They only, but they did 4. All right.
So then, so I was at Pitt. I did the same program Chris did, but in the research track because I think it's a 1 class difference.
I think so, yeah.
But I was like, that will look better for the PhD applications. Applied to a few places for my PhD, but the process of that is you apply, they'll ask you to visit as for sort of an informal interview, and then they'll offer you a position or whatever. And I got a few offers, but at the time couldn't go to every interview.
Where were some of the schools?
Missouri, like Mizzou, Arizona State.
Oh wow.
That would have been sick, but
sweet.
I know.
I think you messed up that one.
I think I really screwed the pooch. No, and Virginia, like University of Virginia.
Cavaliers.
Correct. Yep.
Go Cavaliers.
Go Cavs.
Yeah.
Big Cleveland guy. Go Cavs.
Makes sense. Makes sense. Full circle, as we call it.
And Tennessee, and I had talked to someone like Idaho, but Idaho.
Boise.
No. Nice. So I
Anyway.
basically had to like pick one place to visit because I couldn't fly more
Yeah.
than one place. So went to Tennessee, had a good time, good interviews with
Sure.
people. They told me a few months later that I could go if I wanted, and I was like, nice, I'll go. So that's what I
Nice.
did for the last 4 years.
Sick. I'll do it.
Yeah. Anyways, what a story.
Yeah.
I hope people are still awake.
That's how we got here.
That sucked. Sorry.
No, it's important for people to understand. It's a similar track with both of these individuals, obviously. A little bit different on the come up
Yeah.
at Annabelle days because you kind of like had an idea from the start. I mean, you kind of switched from that one class, but you knew you wanted to do something with teaching, something with phys ed in that sense. But then Corey really had no idea what he wanted to do. And then I guess you could both say that this one teacher you guys had, like, kind of,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dr.
helped.
Dr. Stoffer, yeah.
she really,
Yeah.
girl.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, yeah, I didn't know if we mentioned.
There is
that
a
earlier.
Dr. Stoffer at Gannon who is not a girl.
Oh, interesting.
So if you know Gannon,
Shout
Dr.
out
Stoffer, that's not who we're
the
talking
Erie
about.
area.
Yeah.
Erie schools.
814.
Yeah.
Stand up.
Stand way up. It's cool to just kind of like highlight the education behind you guys and like why you guys are as intelligent and involved as you are. I think it's important for people to understand that there is a career path you could choose. It's like really formalized. You really understand the material. Like I had some studies I did with Corey while he was getting his doctorate. It was just cool to like kind of see him in that setting. Like doing some interviews, but like some research stuff for his doctorate degree, which he just got recently. So that wasn't too long ago that we did that.
Yep.
Probably 4 or 5 months ago or something.
Yeah.
Something like that. But I think it's important for people to understand who you guys are and why I consider you guys like in my circle, just from a health and physical fitness kind of standpoint, not necessarily just CrossFit. Obviously, there's components in CrossFit that you guys understand, and like
Sure.
vice versa, which it's all intertwined. But This is definitely tailored towards CrossFit because that's what I do, that's what I believe in, but it's also I believe in just strength and conditioning. Like,
Sure.
I believe in the exercise, science, physiology type stuff. I might not have the education, but you guys are my education.
Expand the circle,
Professors,
dude.
yeah.
It's about
So
how you know.
I just think it's cool to have like those connections, like where it all can
Certainly.
tie together.
Yeah.
So a bunch of people on this podcast I hope to get on are going to have different avenues, but it's all just physical fitness, being healthy, having that lifestyle. Mindset is huge. So I would say like us three definitely have similar mindsets on life and how to attack things.
Yeah.
You are who you surround yourself with, kind of thing. I think
Facts.
that's 100% true.
Yeah.
102 maybe percent. Those
Something to
extra
grow on.
2,
Yeah.
those extra 2% are crucial. But this is kind of the basis of like differentiating these episodes. Seeing the type of people that I surround myself with, and I think people should follow you. People should like know you guys,
Yeah.
just from like a human being perspective, but also you're intelligent people that I think everyone should know.
Thanks,
Literally.
man.
And
Thanks.
this is kind of the whole point why I wanted to get you guys on here. People like yourselves, pros. I'm just the con, but pros here. Super important that these dudes are highlighted just in society today. I mean, you're doing big things up
Trying.
Baldwin Wallace these days.
Trying.
You're doing big things up Cannon Mac. Fry Performance Training.
FPT.
Business is taking off. So when you see me post about Fry Performance, wearing that hat and stuff, this is the guy. This is the guy right here.
It's me.
Most of you will probably know him.
Yeah.
He's been around. Corey will hopefully be around a lot more these days. Now he's
Absolutely.
about a 90-minute trip as opposed
Such
to
an easy drive.
8.5-hour trip.
Dang.
Dang.
That thing stunk.
Dang. But I wanted to at least get you guys, like, your tracks, why you got to where you were, or are now, how you got there, I should say. People just kind of understanding, relating to your personalities, that kind of thing. It's been a theme so far, and I think this is going to continue to figure out why you guys do what you do. So
Yeah.
you kind of touched on yours
Mm-hmm.
in a sense. I kind of just want to bring it all together for sure. So, like, why do you do what you do?
Yeah.
You said you wanted to be a teacher early on in your life.
Mm-hmm.
Why? You said you wanted to get into, like, strength conditioning. Like, why?
Yeah.
Like, why are these things the way they
Right.
are? Because, like, who are you?
Yeah.
Based
So
off these
I
things.
wanted to, like I said, I wanted to be a teacher since I was 12. That's
Why, Chris?
That's what I'm
I
getting
asked
to.
you why.
That's what I'm getting to.
Alright,
It's
sorry.
hard to get good guests.
12 was when I was in 6th grade. I had a great 6th grade teacher.
That's
Shout
literally
out.
the year we won the friggin'.
Yeah, we won a championship.
We know the
it was-
year.
We beat
alright.
Rochester. It was at Center
Yeah.
High School. It's not a big deal.
It's not.
Oh,
Anyways.
Chester, it's-
But 6th grade, my 6th grade teacher was great. Mr. A. Shout out to him.
His last name is A.
Astorino.
Oh, okay.
But we called him Mr. A.
Oh,
Alright.
we had a Astorino up in Edinburgh.
Yeah.
Shout out
I
to
don't
A.
remember him.
Hey.
But yeah, I enjoyed my 6th grade year. I'll tell people still to this day, like, favorite year of school is 6th grade. It's
what?
such a weird thing.
Yeah,
But
it's incredible.
it's because my teacher.
17
Okay.
years ago.
Yeah.
It's because of my teacher.
Alright, fair enough.
So he was like the first reason why I wanted to teach, because he was fun. He was like understanding. We like played Nerf basketball in the back of his room all the time. Played paper football on the back desk
Nice.
all the time. It's just, I don't know.
Yeah.
He was great. And then going through high school, he was our JV basketball coach as well. And he just kind of instilled a lot of confidence in me. And I wanted to do that for other people as well. It's like I want to give that to other kids.
Huge answer.
Nice.
Huge answer.
Yeah, so that's like the big reason that I wanted to teach. And then the coaching aspect was also him, but George Davis, you remember him? You know George.
I know George.
Great coach as well. He was 6th, 7th, and 8th grade basketball coach. He just like, kind of made me love basketball. Fun practices all the time. So I wanted to get into that to do the same. And it kind of did turn full circle because now I teach 7th and 8th grade. So that's kind of a great thing that I get to do. Is he was such an influence on my life in 6th, 7th, 8th grade, and I hope to be doing the same thing for my 7th and 8th graders right now. That both of those guys did for me. And then in terms of strength and conditioning, exercise, that just it started out as a hobby. I started 10th grade, probably 9th, 10th grade, starting to lift. I used to go down Midland and lift. They have that gym above their basketball gym. You ever been there? we used to
Talking to Nick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We used to go down there and lift. We would be playing Lincoln Park on like a Friday night, and I would go down there after school Friday and lift and like talk to their coach. Be like, "What are you doing?" I'd be like, I don't know.
I'm gonna make it to the league someday,
I'm
dude. I'm
scouting.
working. Yeah.
Yeah. So that, I got
Scouting
into
guys.
through that, and then just kind of continued like lifting for fun when I started at college, and then I got into the HPE Health and Phys Ed program, and just the people in that program were great. Corey can probably attest to
Facts.
that. Like they were just always so positive and like fun to be around. The teachers, the other students that were in there, and it just kind of pushed me to want to learn more about it. And I think it's just a way to help people outside of school. So now I'm being able to teach kids in the school setting, and now I'm hopefully trying to help adults and even have some athletes too, just become healthier, move better, and have fun with it. Show them that it's not like, it doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be like a
Chore.
chore to do. Yeah.
Mhm.
Hopefully I'm trying to build an environment where it's a fun place to be. They enjoy going there, get a good workout, and they get stronger. So that's kind of the biggest reason. And I just like to I like to learn about it and like continuing to like learn new things and like kind of see how far I can take it and how much I can learn about it. So that's kind of the big reason why.
Really intrinsically motivated.
Very.
Common themes around
Yeah.
Very.
the three of us. Very interesting.
I was gonna say, just about your FPT community, if you will.
Mhm.
I've only dropped in a couple times, like towards the end of classes,
Mhm.
and like the social factor there
Yeah.
is a common thread that I see between there and Aurelius, where people are like, that's what's gonna help
People make the party, dude.
People make the party.
Yeah.
And that's what's gonna help people over the long term, is like enjoying it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's the
When
biggest
you
thing.
don't make it a chore, and I think that's if we're
That's-
looking at the Venn diagram,
Yeah.
like you
Yeah.
said.
Nice. That was
Yeah.
nice.
Yeah.
You
That's
can
real
get
nice. Hey,
as
that was fire.
you can get as strong or as in shape or as fit as you want, but like if you're not in a good setting, a good community, it'll last for a month or two, and then
So many good things.
You'll be bored.
So many good things here.
and you don't want to be bored. It shouldn't be boring.
Yeah,
It
that we
shouldn't
could
be
dive into
hard
for sure. I mean, so many things. Where do I begin? First off, I start by saying, like, yeah, obviously, like, I knew a lot of this about Chris, but it's cool for you guys to see why he's one of my closest friends for a long time, for sure. I kind of got into more about reading about fitness and stuff because of you, for sure. Like, he was reading when we were living.
I don't
In
do that
Southside,
anymore. I need
huh?
to. I said I don't do that as much anymore.
Yeah, I mean, things
need
happen,
to.
for sure. But you got me into reading just in general, but like more like mindset, lifestyle, also health stuff, like physical fitness, like definitely the person that got me into that kind of thing, which is super cool for people to know that this is the kind of the reason why I kind of started getting more involved with it. I was in sports and stuff and working out and fitness, but like coaching, I always kind of did, like kids basketball camps growing up and stuff, but like really started diving into CrossFit a few years ago when I started to get into CrossFit.
I remember when you made that shift. You were going to LA Fitness down Southside.
Yeah,
Where
LA
you started
Fitness.
there. You're like, it's so busy.
It's so busy and
that one
like
sucks.
just like I need the I need
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
community of people, plus the competition aspect of CrossFit, like
There you go. Yeah.
competing, like I love that.
Yeah.
It's just I've always been that way, but being able to educate people is also like why, like you just said, like you could always get more, you could always learn more, that kind of thing. So that's super cool. Number one, and then number two, just why you do the things you do. So I think that's important to like differentiate with like people in CrossFit where you like kind of have to push yourself sometimes, but also if you're dealing with like the everyday people that just want to find something that they can consistently do for the rest of their lives, that's like super important to make sure that they have a good time and they enjoy it. So I posted something about it recently where like you need to have fun in the process or else you're just gonna not and like if you're not having fun, what like
Yeah.
why not? So like there's a time and place to get more towards like you need to be serious, and like that's a different conversation for a different time I think, but it's important for you to say things that like people can relate to. Most people just want something that they enjoy, they see good results, they feel good, look good.
Mm-hmm.
And it all starts with like the person leading, creating an environment for them to feel safe and welcome to do so.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if there's
You've been
anyone
doing
that
that.
kind of does that, it's definitely Chris, just in his everyday setting, from coaching, teaching kids, all the way up to his fry performance stuff. So he kind of has his hand in a little bit of everything, which is cool in that regard, right?
Yeah, definitely.
So, like, I think that's why it's important for people to know who Chris is. Like, people have seen you, you come around a little bit, but you
Yeah.
don't really, like,
You don't really turn heads. People aren't like.
they're like, who's this guy?
They
Joe?
kind
Who's this
of
jabroni?
like, let's give this guy some space.
Yeah,
What's
he
going
seems a
on?
little off. I don't know. So he's come to like Aurelius, but like he doesn't really come in like a class. He's more like just help out, and like we have some competitions, he'll help out, kind of thing. Like people know who you are, but I wanted people to actually know like what you do outside of Aurelius. What can you come help us? Like why I think that you're one of the better individuals to know for sure. So that's why I just wanted to highlight you.
Get the
Thank you.
why, yeah.
Thank you.
Pause if applicable.
If I-
But switching gears now
Yeah.
to Corey, so like you kind of touched on why you got into
Why.
what you did, but like I guess you could dive in a little
Yeah.
deeper, like why.
Pause.
Well,
If applicable. Sorry. There's
a higher form of
Yeah.
like why you did it, not just
Certainly.
like, oh, I want to be a professor, but like
Yeah.
why, like so like you like. I don't even know. Like you coached at like Orange Theory for a
Yeah.
while. Like you love
Yeah.
helping people.
Mhm.
You mentioned like you didn't even like being in front of people at
Yeah.
all, and then I mean, I never even knew that about you.
Yeah. Either.
Yeah,
But, like,
I used to
so,
skip.
So like that's why I was like
class.
taken back. Like when I said that
Yeah.
earlier, like if you know Corey, you know like he's a person you can relate to. He's personable. He's super
Steve?
laughable.
Yeah.
At
Funny,
or-
maybe funny.
No.
Funny could be the word.
I mean,
No,
you're
definitely not funny.
You're not
No.
funny though. It's crazy.
I keep trying so hard to be funny and nobody laughs.
Anyway, so go ahead
Yeah.
and just like touch on
Yeah.
like the bigger reason why you do what you do.
Yeah. I think whether it was intentional or not, having Chris and I on at the same time was smart because there are some similarities in like my why,
All I
but
do is be intentional. Dude.
you do be thinking. But there are some differences where so the one common why
There we go.
one common why is that I had positive influences that I like
Huge.
appreciated
Huge.
and wanted to then become that.
And I just need to interrupt you one quick like this is
Yeah.
why you guys are on. I want people to see this and
Yeah.
be impacted in a positive way, influence in a positive way. This is the whole premise of the show, to get people on like yourselves, to like people can relate to, people like understand that way of thinking. So like
Yeah.
you've had that and now you're like passing it on, which
That's right.
I think is like a cool thing to make a point right
Yeah.
now intentionally.
With
See-
intentionality.
You see how I did that?
Yeah,
Right,
dude.
go ahead, sorry, go
Don't have the reach to do it, so let me reach and do it. I think that was Tupac. Anyway, so growing up, I did sports also, but I was kind of the kid that would do like a year or two of the sport, and then like as I got older, I had, this is gonna shock you guys, I started to have a real problem with authority. So coaches, teachers, like no one was getting through to me.
I feel like most people can agree with
Yeah,
that
yeah,
at
it
some
was
point
just
in their life.
It was so obnoxious. Like, I mean, I had to go through that to get to here, so whatever. But like thinking back,
It
like
got you where you
I was
are
a real
today.
punk ass. So I started really not liking anyone in a position of authority until I got to Edinburgh and had such good experiences with Dr. Stauffer, Dr. Roberts, Dr. Miller, Dr. I'm not even going to say her name correctly anymore.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, Amy.
Amy.
Dr. Amy.
Dr. Whaler now.
Dr. Whaler.
Like everyone, as Chris
They're
said,
great.
was just
Yeah.
like legitimately such great people that I was like, oh, like it was finally an example of good role models in the academic setting. I was like, oh, they're not all just like jerks that like want to flex power. And so that was one thing in common that also motivated me, because I was like, if that had such an impact on me, I just want to do that for kids too. And then from the actual activity perspective, like the actual fitness, lifting, strength and conditioning, all that, I was just so into it as a hobby at first when I lost that weight for the Eagle Challenge. And then I did a few competitions in like powerlifting. I won. Let's move on. All right.
You still have those?
Did you bring the trophy?
Yeah.
Dude, it's everywhere with me. Yeah. No, it's
Let's move on.
it's fine. I won both of them. Can we move on? And but so that was like where I spent a lot of my time training, was like powerlifting, squats, bench, deadlifts, things like that, compound movements. And I got really into, as you alluded, the mindset, the mentality aspect of it. I would listen to like motivational speeches on the way to the gym about like, and it worked, and there's like truth to it, but it's a little cheesy to reflect on. But like, the fact of the matter was like a lot of the discipline and self-sacrifice and things that were going on in the gym that I was practicing there ended up making my academic, personal, social, all of these other areas of my life better. Because when things would get hard in school or just in life, you know, like something happens to your car, something happens at work, like whatever, you have a little bit more grit. Like you have like the resources, the mental resources to be like, it's fine.
Yeah.
You push through it. You don't even realize necessarily that you're doing it. But for me, that started in the gym when I would do things that I didn't want to, but I was like, well, sometimes you gotta. You know what I mean? So that, from an activity perspective, just to wrap up the long-winded answer again, is that's my why. Is like, I'm a man of many words, often dumb ones. But I just recognize the value internally and externally, and when you encounter things in life that you can pull from the gym. That's what gets me fired up about it, and that's what gets me fired up to teach kids about it, and hopefully get them to have that same appreciation and be the role model that the Dr. Stoffers, the Dr. Roberts, and all them were. So just keeping that going.
Yeah.
That's my deep why.
Well, it's a phenomenal deep why.
Thanks.
No pun intended. Yeah, so definitely a couple of things to highlight there for sure. So like number one, like the positive influences in your life could make or break you for sure.
Certainly.
So like you want to have those people in your life that just are good, genuine people who want to see you succeed, inspire you to do so. Bam, 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 bam. You get it. Yeah. I'm just fucking rattling it out.
I'm just trying to keep you on a leash here, dude.
I can't.
You're gonna break
so
through this
freaking
thing.
Passionate about freaking fitness.
Yeah.
But in all seriousness, like having that positive influence in your life is just like the biggest thing. So like that's part of the reason why I do what I do for sure. But it's also cool to have people here who are like probably Aurelius members that don't really know like the outside of the CrossFit realm or whatever. Like they may have dabbled in it beforehand or whatever the case is, but have people like yourselves say that as well. It's not just tailored to CrossFit, it's just tailored to life in general. In the gym, being physically active and having that fitness and healthy lifestyle. So that's cool to hear you say, just from a perspective who's not like, what I don't do what you guys do, you don't do what I do, but it's all tied together in some form of some shape or form. So that's cool to hear you say that, and people can relate to that for sure. But also, like, I couldn't agree more with like the internal and external gym thing. So like you push through those barriers, do things you never thought you'd be able to do in the gym, so you know how to react or know how to go about situations that happen just in life.
Right.
So like I post about that quite a bit, or I try to at least, because it's like one of the most important things I think people can take away. How the gym and being physically active, getting a workout in and being stronger mentally and physically inside the gym will just translate to every other aspect in their lives.
Absolutely.
So like that's why this is probably the coolest thing we'll take away, is for people to relate to that. I try and preach on that like very regularly, because it's a very prevalent thing for sure. Cannot stress how important that is for your physical health, but also even more so your mental health.
Yep.
Having that understanding of how to push through, how to grit through, how to grind through things in the gym. So like trying to get stronger, it's a process. I posted about that recently. Like it's going to take forever. It's going to be longer than you want, but you have to just keep enjoying that process. So full circle moment with Chris over here, enjoying it, but also understanding the why that is important. So like you push through these barriers inside the gym physically, it'll just translate and help you be better off outside the gym in your everyday life.
That's right.
I think those are just some of the most important things anyone could talk about. Doesn't have to be CrossFit, doesn't have to be what you guys do. It's just all tied together, which is why I think it's cool for people to understand that, like, I do CrossFit, but I definitely venture out into people's physical fitness things that they do just because of the bigger reasoning behind it.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's the common denominator.
you hit the nail on the head with that one, Corey.
That's what I
You
do.
hit the nail on the head with that one, Christopher.
Men of profound words. I don't know, man.
100%.
Yeah, dude. Makes you think.
Titanic, though, right?
Don't even
I
get me
can't.
started right now.
How did they make Stonehenge?
It's just crazy.
Anyway. Yeah,
The people on the Californian were getting the
Yeah.
SOS messages and they were
Yeah.
annoyed. Anyway, sorry.
it just really makes you think.
Makes you want to.
Definitely cool for people are going to relate to this. So, like, every episode, I hope someone finds something that they can relate to. Hopefully, they spread it and people can hear these things. They're very, like, we talk about it, so it doesn't seem like as, like, important, but it could be, like, a very important thing for someone to hear.
Yeah.
Like, the thing that they needed to hear. Like, you never know who is struggling internally or whatever the case is, so that's why I want to stay positive on this.
Certainly.
The gym, I think, is obviously the best outlet for that, which is why we do what we do.
Facts.
All that physical health just translates into life. How can we be a positive impact for people? How can we be a positive influence for people? And there's different paths. So, like, this was a great episode to highlight people like yourselves as to where you got to why you got to where you got, and all that stuff. So, having those people at Edinburgh, having those people at Pitt, us preaching in our own ways to our own communities. So,
I would say
Cool
even
thing.
like just us talking in general was like a big, like we talk about exercise and
yeah.
working out on a daily basis.
Yeah.
Every day.
Yeah.
Like in our group chat, and I think that's helpful.
Yeah.
As well, like
It's like
it
low
keeps
key
you going.
accountability.
Yeah.
Low
for
key,
sure.
lowest of
Because
keys.
no one's
sure.
like, at this point, we all know that we're all going to be working out. Like, it's not like, oh, nice job. Like, I know you've been struggling to get to the gym. Like,
Yeah.
nobody's ever in our group chat.
Yeah.
But it's still nice to just have that kind of steady, consistent, because,
Yeah.
like, there's always something to be learned. There's always something to be shared. There's, like, we've been doing this collectively, like, for a long time.
Yeah.
But there's still things that someone will say, and it's like, oh, I didn't
So
even
if we can
think
do
of
that for
yeah.
like ourselves, or we do that all the time, like imagine when we're actually like displaying that for people,
Yeah.
coaching
Yeah.
or teaching classes or professing.
Professing my love
Yeah.
for exercise science and Titanic.
Yes. So it's just cool the different avenues we each go,
Yeah.
but we all kind of the Venn diagram again.
Yeah.
Some people will call us the epicenter of the fitness ripple effect.
The pinnacle, if you
Yeah.
will.
A lot
And
of
I
people
will.
have said that.
And I will.
If you will, and I will.
Definitely. So I definitely have. I mean, I've enjoyed this episode. I
It's
think
nice.
people would definitely relate to it, just from a different perspective of not CrossFit centered, but understanding why I implement things in CrossFit and why it's all tied together.
Right.
CrossFit is definitely just like an everyday life, but it's also strength and conditioning is an everyday life type stuff. So like why we each do what we do, but it's all connected in some way. And I've ended these episodes with just something positive.
Okay.
So we're about an hour now. Definitely wanted to get something out there from each of you and then myself. So it's been cool to kind of just wrap up these episodes with something that's been positive in our lives. Something that's happened in the gym or something you're looking forward to, something that's happened in daily life. No pressure or anything.
Yeah.
Just like, have you been, I mean, we try and keep a positive mindset on things. So just kind of getting some positivity out into the world.
Yeah.
If you want to start, if
Yeah.
anything has happened to you recently, or and it doesn't have
Yeah.
to be super recent, it can
No.
be within the last, I mean, getting your doctorate,
Yeah.
that'd be cool.
That ruled. Yeah, that was
That was a cool thing.
it was cool. I wouldn't even
Yeah.
recommend that anyone does it. It was miserable.
But
No,
yeah.
it was worth it. I would say more recently, I've I've regularly been getting back to the gym.
Yeah.
I know I just said that, like, we know that's always going to happen, and that has been happening, but since the move, I've had, like,
You're-
just
I
some
mean,
maintenance style
and
workouts.
just so like
you know
people
what I mean?
understand, like getting your doctorate was a busy thing.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
was doing a lot of hours. He was also like coaching at Orange
Working
Theory,
full-time.
working
Yeah.
full time. Like so,
Without
like
anybody else knowing.
life happens. You kind of have
I
to
hope she doesn't watch this.
you have to prioritize
Yeah.
things in a certain way.
Yeah.
But just so people understand
Yeah.
why that's a big deal for you.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
go ahead.
And so on the move, or since the move, I've been having like some random workouts, like just again staying busy, staying active, keep my body moving. But lately, I've been like lifting like I used to lift again, like structured, regimented,
Yeah.
getting there, and strength is coming back. I'm pumped about that. Hasn't happened yet, but I'm gonna be reunited with my sweet baby angel on Wednesday, so I'm very pumped about
Corey
that.
recently have taken on a girlfriend, so
That's
and
taking
she's
on a
been
girlfriend.
yeah
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
taken a lot out of me, honestly.
yeah.
It's been quite a burden.
He,
Oh, kidding. It's
he's
not gonna go
recently
well.
has gotten a girlfriend.
Yeah.
They were both down in Knoxville. That's where he met her, but he moved to Cleveland, and then she was in Europe for the past several weeks.
Yeah,
She's doing some cycling, so
Yeah.
she's been away, but
that's the
she'll,
positivity.
she'll be back.
Oh, nice,
Get that?
dude.
Respect. That's on camera. That's on camera. Yeah, those are some cool things.
Personal and gym related.
Yeah,
positive
that's
things
cool.
happening.
I kind of did that last week, so
Yeah.
if you have it, let it rip. But
Yeah.
no sweat if you don't. What do you got for me?
Just some client stuff. Just getting stronger. I had a guy. I'm not sure how old he is. I think he's in his late 50s. He hit the 40s for 8 on the flat dumbbell
Let's
bench.
go.
So he was pumped. He was fired up.
Nice.
He did it for 3 sets too.
Was he the seminar? Did I meet him?
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah, Andrew.
Yeah. All right.
Andrew. And then Laura, she hex bar deadlifted 190 for 5, I think.
Dang.
Just client
So,
things, baby. Doing
also
big things
just
at Fry
Pumped.
Performance.
So they were
Yeah.
excited. They get super excited about it. So
Yeah.
I like seeing that they get stronger. They're seeing that they're stronger, and they get real fired up about it. So
That goes back to Kurt's point. I just want to kind of do this.
Yeah.
What he was doing last time.
Yeah.
Goes to his point about the lifespan of
Yeah.
working out.
How old did you say they are?
I think they're like in their late 50s. Yeah. And
Imagine
they're,
that.
They're a year. They've been working with me for a year. Well, 2 weeks ago.
That's
was it a
no
year?
coincidence.
They brought me these
Consistency.
oatmeal fudge things. Oh,
You got any more, bro?
Oh,
Or-
they were
I ate 'em all.
fire?
They were so good.
They were so
you ate them
good.
all?
Yeah.
All right.
You ate them all?
I didn't eat them all, but other people at the
They've
gym
been
ate them.
eaten. All right.
Yeah, they've been eaten. They're good though.
Well, Nick and I'll figure something out then.
Next
Yeah,
time,
I
I'll
guess
have
we'll
them,
just fend
I'll
for
have them make
ourselves.
you some. I'll bring them in next time.
Next time.
Yeah.
Yikes.
If you'll have me.
Oh, okay.
Cart
Yeah.
in front of the horse on that one, huh?
Wonderful stuff there. I mean, I think most people can relate to both of those things that you said, just getting back into a routine that you kind of had to just prioritize that. I mean, time, stuff happens, life happens, how do you respond? Kind of work through it and then just get
Sure.
back to it when you can. Bada bing, bada boom, no big deal.
Big deal.
Chris and people in their 50s just feeling good,
Moving
working
weights.
out, and being excited about hitting a certain thing or a certain rep or a certain weight in the gym. So, like, this is for life. That's what we want to preach on this for sure. Kurt touches on that a lot on these episodes. So, like, it's important how that kind of connects together.
Yeah. What about
sure.
you, dude?
Positive stuff,
Share
man.
some
I just
positivity, dude. Close the
Yeah, close
the loop
close
of
it all up.
positivity.
Dang, I don't know, man. Just so much positivity happening around me. Definitely just the podcast.
Yeah.
The podcast has been cool, kind of getting people rolling on here, getting a schedule out, people listening in. I love that I have this platform and able to get people on and highlight who you guys are. Everyone that comes on, not just you guys, but Kurt and everyone else that I plan on having on. Just having good positive influences into the Twitter sphere
Yeah.
or whatever you want to call it. So that's just been cool. And thinking about just in general, like how I could use this for really people here might hopefully see it. Like I take it really seriously to try and help people as much as I can at Aurelius, but how do I go beyond that now and
Yeah.
try and get as many people, help as many people as I can. Like it's a big thing in me is to be helpful and be able to serve people as much as I can.
Nice.
So it's been cool to kind of like reflect on. In the gym, people just been hitting PRs left and right.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's been cool.
Love to see it.
The community aspect has really been kicking up a notch, I think, over the last few months, I would say. Just from more people coming, more
Yeah.
people taking the time out of their day to come to like a big class on a Sunday or whatever it is.
That's fun. Yeah.
Really nothing too specific, crazy going on. I mean, a couple PRs on the board.
Sure.
But just cool to have people in here. I think we'll give a quick shout out to Shannon Oster.
Knoxville. Didn't I meet her one time? And she's from Knoxville?
Oh, Shannon. No, that's a different Shannon.
Different Shannon.
Yeah. But
Well,
shout out her to her. Yeah.
Shout out all the Shannons.
Yeah, shout them out. Shout 'em
Worldwide.
out. Shannon Oster just turned 40 the other day and is still
Hey.
doing like bar muscle ups and stuff.
Oh, nice, Shannon.
Yeah. A bunch of people are on some bike trip right now for the gym, so a group of them kind of go on a bike trip every so often. Kind of want to get on one here soon.
Nice.
Just schedule wise, it didn't really work out right now, but they do like a bike trip down to Maryland and back, or they do to Maryland and then they
jeez.
get a ride back.
Gotcha.
So they do it like over the weekend. So they split it up and like they do it on some trail, and it looks like a lot of fun. Just kind of have to commit to one of these days.
Yeah.
I think Kurt went on this one, so. But Josh Platts, the man behind everything here, kind of gets all that together. So there's
Nice.
a group of people doing that now. So that's cool to see
Very
people
cool.
doing that, and then just kind of keep this podcast rolling. I think this was a fantastic episode.
And this is a good setup. I know
Not
I've
a
seen
bad little
pictures
area.
and stuff, but like
Not a bad little area.
this is very, very
If
legit.
there's any final remarks about the Titanic, let's get them out there. Like,
Jeez. Well, it's just crazy because they
Yeah.
had these compartments that were supposed to hold the water if they were to get struck, but they didn't. They left like
yeah,
room between the wall and the ceiling, so it could have literally just. I just don't understand
yeah.
why you would do that.
I'm ticked.
Why wouldn't you just go up to the ceiling?
Anyway.
Yeah, sorry. I just love the Titanic, but it just keeps me up at night.
Yeah, a little bit over an hour, but this was a
Nice,
great
dude.
episode. Definitely wanted you guys to be highlighted in as much as possible, and he'll be back for sure. But kind of get you
Acclimated.
Yeah.
get the overview of who you guys are and why I consider you guys some of the coolest pros around town. You know,
This is fun.
yeah, good stuff.
And maybe we can talk about it off air. I just have always wanted to say that.
We'll get this off camera.
We could
Yeah.
we
We'll
can
discuss-
talk about it later
we'll
off
discuss,
mic, but you have some other guests like lined up already.
Yeah.
A few of them.
Can't.
You got a schedule.
I
Yeah.
try to keep it like a freaking surprise, and Chris is out here like, "Oh, it might be on next week." Blah 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 blah. I'm like,
Oh,
dude,
man.
shut up.
Said maybe.
Loose lips. Loose lips sink ships.
Oh,
Yeah,
sheesh.
anyway.
Loose lips sink ships. Titanic full circle.
Oh,
All right, he's out here. Thanks for coming on, fellas. This is great.
yeah,
Thanks
dude.
for
That's
Not a big
awesome.
deal. So
Appreciate it.
we'll see you next time.
You have been listening to the Pros and Con podcast. You can find us on Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, YouTube, Spotify, and Anchor. Come back each week for a new episode. Thanks for listening.